Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Any other mantras I'm missing? I think I've covered it all. Okay. So there's a bit of a glitch here. I thought I was supposed to speak on 23 because that's what I saw on the group, but apparently it's text 18 today. So let's see what Krishna Mukum Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayati. Let's see what happens. So Sprunatam Padayo Premna Vriditam Svena Karmana Shatakrotam Parishvachya Videsham Visharajaha Sprunatam Padyo Premna Vridhitam Svena Karmana Shatakratam Parishvachya Videsham Visarajaha. Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Temple. We have Srimad Bhagavatam classes every day where we discuss one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. It goes on for 40-45 minutes. You're welcome to join us today. So usually from Prabhuji's side, there are 3 speakers, and from Mataji's side, there are 3 speakers. So if you would like to recite the verse, and then we'll repeat after you. Would you like to repeat? It's okay. Let's go on to the word-by-word translation, and then the translation in the purport. As King Indra was standing by, he became, Sprinatam, touching, Padayo, the feet, Premna, in ecstasy, Vriditam, ashamed, Svena, his own, Karmana, by activities, Shatakratam, King Indra, Parisvajya, embracing, Vidvesham, envy, Visarja, gave up, Ha, of course. Translation: As King Indra was standing by, he became ashamed of his own activities and fell down before King Prithu to touch his lotus feet. But Prithu Maharaj immediately embraced him in great ecstasy and gave up all envy against him for his having stolen the horse meant for the sacrifice. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There are many cases in which a person becomes an offender to the lotus feet of Vaishnavas and later becomes repentant. Here also we find that although the king of heaven, Indra, was so powerful that he accompanied Lord Vishnu, he felt himself a great offender for stealing Prithu Maharaj's horse that was meant for sacrifice. An offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is never executed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many instances illustrating this fact. Amrish Maharaj was offended by Durvasa Muni, a great sage and mystic yogi, and Durvasa also had to fall down at the lotus feet of Amrish Maharaj. Indra decided to fall at the lotus feet of King Prithu, but the king was so magnanimous, a Vaishnava, that he did not want Maharaj Indra to fall down at his feet. Instead, King Prithu immediately picked him up and embraced him. And both of them forgot of all the past incidents. Both King Indra and Maharaj Prithu were envious and angry with each other. But since both of them were Vaishnavas or servants of Lord Vishnu, it was their duty to adjust the cause of their envy. This is also a first-class example of a cooperative behavior between Vaishnavas. In the present day, however, because people are not Vaishnavas, they fight perpetually amongst one another and are vanquished without fighting the mission of human life. There's a great need to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement in the world so that even though people sometimes become angry and malicious towards one another, because of their being Krishna conscious, such rivalry, competition and envy can be adjusted without difficulty. Hare Krishna. So we're reading about King Prithu here. I offer all my obeisances and my pranams to the lotus feet of all you Vaishnavas. Please bless me that I am able to serve you by speaking some words of realizations. So we see how Indra is repentant of his behavior and his attitude, and what Prabhupada points out over here is very, very significant because it helps us understand how we should have Vaishnav dealings. There's a very beautiful verse in Updeshamrit which goes as Gangam Bhushamna Khalu Budbuddha Phena Pankay Brahmatitape Pankay Nira Dharmai. So does anyone know the first line of this verse? Drishtve Subhavajanitaiva Puchaischa Doshay Na Prakritatvamya Bhakta Janasya Pashret Gangam Bhushamna Khalu Budbuddha Phena Pankay Brahma Titapya Pagachati Nira Dharmai. So the meaning of this verse is that just like a saintly or a faithful person would not see the pollutant foam in river Ganges during the monsoon seasons, but would recognize the significance of the water, the significance of river Ganges, and will take a dip in the river anyway. Similarly, a Vaishnava is he who does not see outer appearances or faults of a Vaishnava, or does not judge a person depending on his color, caste, creed, skin, etc., but sees them as and recognizes them as the servant of Krishna and accepts them anyhow. So what we can understand from this is that oftentimes we see Vaishnavas having conflicts, or there's some salty attitude in the relationship between Vaishnavas because of something which is very superficial or very external. But deep down we forget to realize that this person is actually a lover of God. So it is said that Kali, the age of Kali is full of the age is of quarrel. So I really believe in this, and I've experienced this, that 5 sinful people can gel together. 5 friends, not at all spiritual, not at all dharmic, can have a very nice synchronization amongst their in their relationship. They can go to the pub together, they can go to the brothels together. They're extremely sinful. They can do whatever they like. They'll have perfect synchronization. If one decides we don't want to take bath for 3 days, the other 4 will also decide the same. But 2 good people, 2 dharmic people, can't gel together. One person will say, "Oh, you're chanting too loud," or you don't have any quality in your chanting, or I want to go to Puri. No, I want to go to Mayapur. So it's very difficult to for good people to gel together, and that's what the age of quarrel is. That there's quarrel amongst everyone. All the relationships, there are constant quarrels. There are quarrels between sampradayas. Or you're from Sri Sampradaya, or we from Gaudiya Sampradaya, or you from Vishnu Swami Sampradaya, or you from no Sampradaya at all, or you're dualistic, or you're non-dualistic. Deep down, what spirituality means is that if you're able to see God's presence in everywhere, jare dekhe tare kao Krishna updesh, wherever you see, you talk about Krishna, you recognize Krishna's presence. And this is what Prahlad Maharaj also teaches. Prahlad Maharaj was able to see the Lord in a pillar. But Hiranyakashipu, even when Lord Narsingdev manifested, day after tomorrow is Narsing Chaturdashi, even when the Lord manifested with his all opulences, he broke the pillar and his feet was touching the patal and his head was touching the Swarglok. And his roaring made pregnant elephants have miscarriages. Lions were hiding in the caves and the entire creation was trembling. So it was pretty evident that the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has appeared. But the ignorant eyes of Hiranyakashipu were such that he couldn't recognize the Lord's presence. Whereas a devotee is who sees Lord even in something in which the Lord is not directly manifesting himself. So for what to speak about living entities and especially souls who are following the same path as you, as Krishna consciousness. So what is there to quarrel about? So this is a very significant point where we should understand that recognizing individuality. We are not dualists. We are not non-dualist. We are dualist, right? We recognize that there are, even in our ways of approaching God, we have rasas, different rasas, Shanta, Dasa, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya. We have, now imagine if Hanumanji is fighting with, who's in Dasarati towards Lord Ram, is fighting with Madhumangal, who's in Sakhiras. And Madhumangal is saying, and Hanuman is saying, "Oh, how can you just fist bump the Supreme Lord? You're supposed to bow down in front of him. You're supposed to offer tulsi leaves and flowers at his lotus feet. Tulasi dala matrena jalasya chulukena va." How are you even looking at the Lord directly? You're supposed to look at him from the feet, and then slowly go on to his lotus feet. And Madhumangal says, "What are you talking about? He's my friend. I'm supposed to punch him, I'm supposed to kiss him, I'm supposed to hug him, I'm supposed to play with him. You don't have any love for Krishna. What is your love?" But when we see Brihad Bhagavatamrit, book written by Sanatan Goswami, what is common between all the devotees? In different rasas, they have different ratis towards Krishna, but what is common is their appreciation towards the other devotee. When they go to Lord Shiva, they tell him, when Narad Muni goes to Lord Shiva and tells him that, "Oh, Vaishnavanam Yathashambhu, you're the topmost devotee." Lord Shiva's humility, that I gave benedictions to Ravan, and due to my benedictions, he got so powerful that the Supreme Lord had to manifest as Lord Ram, and he had to suffer separation from his eternal consort, Srimati Sita Devi, who's Navami just went by, Sita Navami. But what does Narad say? He appreciates Shivji, that actually you're a very mystical personality. You give benedictions to demons in such a way that Lord incarnates and Lord has opportunities to do pastimes. There's a verse in Srimad Bhagavatam, "Kritvan kila karmani saha ramena keshava, ati martyani bhagwan guda kapata manusha," that Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he acts like a kapat manusha, where the Lord cries for his wife, where the Lord has feelings of separation, where the Lord has parental affection towards Lord's parents have parental affection towards him, And these ratis, why is the Lord able to relish these ratis? Because of you, O Lord Shiva, you give benedictions and the Lord has to manifest. So he's uplifting Lord Shiva. And then what is Lord Shiva doing in return? He's not being arrogant. Yes, I am Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, the scriptures say so. He's saying, oh no, if you want to see what devotion is, you should go to Prahlad Maharaj. What his devotion towards Supreme Lord Narsingdev, that Lord Narsingdev manifested in a form which was na bhuto na bhavishyati. No one had ever conceived of this form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Half man, half lion. And even the Lord's own consort, Devi Lakshmi, was scared to go in front of the Lord. But Prahlad, 5-year-old Prahlad, he goes on the lap of the Supreme Lord and he sits, and then they're having a conversation. Narsingdev starts licking Prahlad because he's a lion. That's how they express their affection towards their cubs. So he started licking Prahlad. And he said, oh Prahlad, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Prahlad, that I was late. I did not come early. I let you have these, suffer these sufferings which Hiranyakashipu put you through. He put you through the dungeon which was surrounded by snakes. What's the name of the sister? Holika. Holika took you in her laps, and you had to suffer the piles. The pile of fire was surrounding you, and you were thrown off the cliff. You were thrown in the ocean where there were sharks and whales and all deadly creatures. You were poked with javelins and pointed weapons, and all these sufferings. I'm sorry I couldn't come early. I should have come early. I shouldn't have let you go through all of this. And then Prahlad Maharaj gets angry at the Lord. He says, oh Lord, why are you saying this? Why are you saying that you haven't appeared before? Who saved me from the deadly poisonous snakes? Who saved me from the sharks? Who saved me from who carried me in his arms when I was thrown off the cliff? What happened? Right now in front of all the devotees you have manifested your form, but you were always there, my Lord. There was never a time where I did not see your presence, where I did not feel your presence. And that is the devotion of Sri Prahlad Maharaj. So we say that from Brihad Bhagavatamrit and from Srimad Bhagavatamrit, that there's a very common aspect of having mutual respect and loving relationship with devotees. We should actually be like brothers. And let's say, if Chandan Chachit Prabhu and Edward Prabhu have a very good relationship, but one day Chandan Chachit Prabhu is not in a mood, and if he speaks a bit harshly to Edward Prabhu, so Edward Prabhu should not feel bad. He should understand that Chandan Chachit Prabhu is not having a good day, and he's such a pure devotee, which he actually is. And I should give him some space, and next day I should approach him again. And Chandan Chachit Prabhu should think that, oh, I must have done some offense towards Edward Prabhu by speaking harshly, so I should go back again and I should apologize. Maybe get some prasad and take it to Edward Prabhu. So, point being, we should realize that we are brothers. There will be conflicts, there will be differences, because we are dualistic. There has to be differences. Even in our spiritual, even in our ratis, we have differences. What to talk about relationships. But what, at the end of the day, we are all under the shelter of, under the umbrella of Srimad Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should understand that and not have quarrels among devotees. One such pastime of a devotee, talking about Brihad Bhagavatamrit, is the pastime of Sri Rukmini Devi. Today being Rukmini Dwadashi, it's the most auspicious occasion of the appearance day of Sri Rukmini Devi. So I thought we'll discuss something about her pastimes. So there's a play written by Rupa Goswami called Lalit Madhav. Actually, this play has been divided into two parts, Vidagdha Madhav and Lalit Madhav. Vidagdha Madhav talks about Vraj Leela, whereas Lalit Madhav talks about how Vraj Leela manifests itself in Dwarka Leela. So there's a story, it's a bit complicated, a lot of names. I myself have a hard time remembering this, but please bless me that I'm able to share it, whatever I've understood. So Lalit Madhav, the story. So this is actually a play. It's not really a book. It's written in a dramatic series as a drama. Uh, so the story goes that Gargi and Purnamasi are having a conversation, and Gargi asks Purnamasi that how did Radharani and Chandravali appear? What is the story of their birth? And Purnamasi tells Gargi that long time back, Mountain Vindhya personified started getting envious, was envious of Himalaya, and the king of Himalaya mountains, Himalayas personified. So he he got envious, and why did he get envious? Because Lord Shiva became the son-in-law of Himavan. Now Vindhya wanted someone so strong that strong enough to defeat Lord Shiva in war. In war, if Lord Shiva and if his son-in-law was supposed to have a fight, his son-in-law should win. So he started doing austerities. He pleased Brahma, and when he pleased Brahma, Brahma gave him the benediction he wanted. When Brahma gave him the benediction, Brahma himself got into a perplexed situation, because who can defeat Lord Shiva in war? Lord Shiva, who's Pashupati Nath, there's no one who can defeat Lord Shiva. So he started doing austerities to please the Supreme Lord himself. The Supreme Lord told him that if you want, you should if you've given such a benediction, and if you want this to happen, pray to Srimati Radharani, because she's my eternal consort, and if I have to defeat her, if I have to defeat Lord Shiva, which later on we see that Lord Shiva and Krishna do have a fight in Srimad Bhagavatam. So if I do have to defeat, then Radharani has to manifest. So he does austerities towards, he does austerities to please Srimati Radharani. So one lesson to learn here is, we should choose our words very carefully. We should not give benedictions freely. We should not say, oh, whatever you want. Because if the other person actually reveals what he wants, and it's very difficult to please, because what Brahma over here he did, he blessed Vindhya that, oh, whatever you want shall happen. But now he has to do so many austerities to actually make it happen what he wants, what Vindhya wants. So Brahma pleases Srimati Radharani, and Radharani accepts. Radharani says that, see, my eternal parents are Kirtida, Sundari and Vrishbhanu. So I have to take birth in their home, but what I'll do is I'll manage. So what happened was that two daughters were born, manifested in the womb of Kirtida and Chandrabhanu's wife. These two daughters, the transportation is it's not something new. It happens in Krishna Lila, it also happens in Srimati Radharani's pastime. So Yogmaya transports these two children in the womb of the wife of Vindhya. When the wife of Vindhya gives birth to these two beautiful daughters, Vindhya has a big celebration, a grand celebration to celebrate the birthday of his two baby girls, his two daughters. And when that happens simultaneously, because Krishna is elder to Radharani by a few days, Kansa had ordered Putana to kill all the children who have recently taken birth. So Putana is crossing through Vindhya, and what she does is, she sees these two baby girls, and she picks them up, and she kidnaps them. And when she's kidnapping these two daughters of Vindhya, Vindhya asks all the Brahmanas to do something. So what Brahmanas do is, they start chanting mantras, but they're not able to kill Putana, obviously, because the Supreme Lord has to kill. But what happens is that Putana starts feeling dizzy. And when she starts feeling dizzy, the children slip from her hands. So when the children slip from her hands, the firstborn daughter lands in Vidarbha, and the second daughter lands in Vraj. And that's where we know how Vrishbhanu Maharaj finds Srimati Radharani in the beautiful lotus, and he adopts Srimati Radharani. But today we're talking about Chandravali or Rukmini, as we know that Chandravali expands as Rukmini, where Satyabhama expands as Srimati Radharani expands as Satyabhama and Dwarka Leela. So this daughter of when this daughter of Vindhya is found by Bhishmaka, he adopts this daughter. But what happens is, this daughter of Bhishmaka, now adopted by Bhishmaka, is again kidnapped by Jambavan, who was asked to be who is ordered to kidnap this daughter by Vindhyavasini, Durga herself, or Yogmaya herself, because it's all orchestrated, because this girl has to be transported to Vraj to act as Chandravali. So this girl is again kidnapped by Jamvan, and she is given to Purnamasi. Purnamasi gives it to Chandrabhanu, who's the elder brother of Rishbhanu. So now, are we all on the same page as far as the story goes on? Because it gets more complicated. So now, both the girls, so Vindhya's benediction fulfilled, both the daughters landed in Vraj as Srimati Radharani with Rishbhanu, and Chandrabhanu has Chandravali. Now they grow and they have all these pastimes with Krishna. But when Krishna leaves for Mathura and then later on he goes to Dwarka, what happens is Srimati Radharani feels extreme separation from Krishna. And we will not go into, because it's time and there's a lot to cover, we won't go into the details of what her separation was to Krishna. But if I have to summarize it, it's Ashisheva patratam pinashtumam adarshana marmahatam karothuva yata tatava vidatu lampato mat prananatastu sadevna para. That is her separation towards Krishna. So she feels so much separation from Krishna that she goes onto the banks of Yamuna and she drowns herself along with Vishakha. So Vishakha and Radharani, they commit, in a material sense, they try to commit suicide. When they try to commit suicide, the Vivaswan, or the sun god, he tells Yamuna to transport Radha and Vishakha to the Surya, to the planet of sun god. So that's how Radharani is now, and later on she'll be transported. So when Satrajit, who's a part of the Yadu clan, worships the sun god, and asks for the Shamantaka jewel and a daughter, he is blessed by Lord Vivaswan, and he's given Radharani, who is now Satyabhama, as Satrajit's daughter, and the Shamantaka jewel. And Vishakha manifests as Jamvati, as she's later on she manifests as Jamvan's daughter, and the Lord fights, and that's how Jamvati gets married to Krishna. Anyway, so Radharani is now, in a mysterious way, in the sun, in this planet of the sun god, and Chandravali, who's still in Vraj, is now very depressed, extremely sad and morose that even my sister has died and left me, and Krishna has left. What to do? And she's wailing. But what happens is, now this is Act 2, where Uddhav, Gargi, and Purnamasi are having a conversation. So Uddhav tells Purnamasi that I have done a mistake. So Purnamasi asks, what mistake have you done? So he tells that I accidentally might have revealed the real identification of Chandravali to someone whom I shouldn't have. So Purnamasi asks, what do you mean? So Uddhav tells that Vasudev's daughter, Vasudev's sister, Shatadevi, the daughter, the mother of Shishupal. Do we all know who Shishupal is? The one who wants to marry Rukmini. So Shatadevi came to see Vasudev, and I was having a conversation, and I might have told them that actually this daughter of Vindhya, who was kidnapped by Jamvan, was now in Vrindavan, is actually the daughter of Satyajit. Because Satyajit was the one who found her in Vidarbha, because he's the king of Vidarbha. So when Putana, when the daughter slipped from, when the child slipped from Putana's hand, that's where she actually landed. So Satyajit had, not Satyajit. What's the name of? Bhishmak is the name of the father of Rukmini? Yes, Bhishmak had adopted. Bhishmak had adopted this daughter. And then she was again kidnapped by Jaman and transported to Vrindavan. So he told Shatadevi that this girl is actually Bhishmak's daughter, but is living in Vrindavan now. And Shatadevi told Shishupal. And Shishupal told Rukmi that, hey, you have a sister. And you have a sister who's living in Vrindavan. So what Rukmi does, he goes to Vrindavan, takes back Chandravali to Vidarbha, because Chandravali's husband, Govardhan, had died by this time. So she was a widow. And what could the Vrajvasis do against a king of such a powerful region? So he forcefully takes Chandravali, and because he does not want to he does not want everyone to know that, you know, there was such a big negligence happened, that, you know, a daughter was born to the king, and then a bear comes and kidnaps the girl, and he's embarrassed of Chandravali spending her days in a village where she's actually a princess. So he does not tell everyone about Chandravali's past, but now she's being raised as Rukmini, the daughter of Bhishmak and the sister of Rukmi. And Rukmi has 4 other brothers. I'm forgetting their names, but anyway. So now this is how this daughter of Chandrabhanu becomes the daughter of Bhishmaka. And now Rukmi, who's friends with Shishupal, wants Rukmini to marry Shishupal. And how does he know about Shishupal's crush on Rukmini? But Shishupal writes a letter to Rukmini that, may your love towards me increase. And Rukmini, who's now Chandravali, writes a cryptic letter telling him that I've already given my heart to a cowherd boy named Krishna. When he writes this letter and when Rukmini sees it, he gets to know Shishupal has feelings for my sister. And because Shishupal and birds of the same species flock together, they are friends. So they decide that, okay, Shishupal should be married to Rukmi. But by this time, Bhishma wrote a letter to Purnamasi. Are we on the same page? So Rukmi writes a letter to Rukmini, and Rukmini writes a letter back to Shishupal saying that, no, I like Krishna. And by this time, Bhishmaka, who knows and who wants Rukmini to marry Krishna, writes a letter to Purnamasi saying that there are 2 kings, because at this time Krishna simultaneously, let's see what's happening with Krishna's life. So Krishna's fighting Jarasan, and after defeating him for 17 times, he goes to, and then Krishna goes onto that hill. What's the name of that hill? Pravarshan, where Indra likes to shower rains. So that hill is known as Pravarshan, and on that Pravarshan hill, Krishna tries to escape, and then Jarasandh lights the whole hill, ignites the whole hill ablaze. And then what happens is that Krishna is now in Dwarka. But when Krishna is in Dwarka, Brahma asks 2 kings, Krita and Kshika, to coronate Krishna as the king of Dwarka, of that region. And when these kings coronate Krishna, Krishna is very pleased. So Bhishmaka's letter, in his letter, Bhishmaka says that, please ask King Krita and Kashika to get Krishna to Vidarbha for Rukmini Swayamvar, and ask Krishna to kidnap my daughter. Because I tried convincing my son, but I can't go against his will. He's too strong, and he wants Rukmini to marry Shishupal to marry Rukmini, but I want Krishna to marry my daughter. So when this is happening, Krita and Kashika, who have now pleased Krishna by coronating him as the king, and then there's a brief description of how all the demigods come and they crown Krishna as the prince, as the king of Dwarka, and then Krishna accepts that, okay, yeah, sure, I'll marry Rukmini, but Krishna does not know externally. Actually, Krishna is Swarat, and so his the knower of everything. But in this pastime, Krishna does not know that Chandravali is actually the one who's in the disguise of Rukmini now. So he goes with Suparna, who he disguises himself as a dancer. He and Garuda, who disguises himself as Suparna, two dancers, because in the palace of Vidarbha, where Rukmini resides, no man is allowed, and Shishupal asked, because Shishupal knew that Krishna might do something, because Shishupal hates Krishna. So Rukmi, Shishupal, Jarasandh, and all these birds of the same species, they are here at trying to do the border security force for Vidarbha, so that Krishna cannot come. So they're conducting this marriage, and Shishupal is dreaming about Rukmini. I'm marrying Rukmini tomorrow, that beautiful girl I'm marrying. And so he's in that consciousness. He's that Ravan mentality that I want to enjoy the Supreme Lord's Shakti. But little does he know that the lion will come and he'll take his share. Just how he takes it, a pack of hyenas, they're feeding on a pound of flesh, but the lion comes and all the hyenas run away. So this Krishna, disguised as a dancer, he sees Rukmini, and then he sees that, oh, this is actually Chandravali, because he sees the ankle bells of Rukmini remind him the ankle bells of Chandravali, and he's enamored by the beauty of Chandravali, and he realizes that it's actually Chandravali from Vrindavan, and Krishna loves Raj. And then what happens is that Rukmi is doing 1,000 fire sacrifices to please goddess Kali. And he had pleased Kali, asking Kali to make sure that the marriage happens in a safe way. And Kali, she says that, I bless you that the grandson of, what's the name of Vasudev's father, Prabhu? Sursen. The grandson of Sursen, who was born with 4 hands, will become your brother-in-law. So actually Kali tricked Rukmi, because Shishupal was also born with 4 hands, and Krishna was also born with 4 hands. Do you know the story of Shishupal being born with 4 hands? So Shishupal was born with 4 hands and 3 eyes, and not in the beautiful form of Shankh Chakra Gada Padma, but in a very hideous way. And their parents were very concerned, and then there was, I think, they were told that whoever is to kill Shishupal, when he holds Shishupal in his laps, the other 2 extra hands and the 3rd eye will disappear. So when anyone used to come at Shata Devi's house, she would give the child in Krishna's arms, and in everyone's arms. And when Krishna held Shishupal, his extra limbs disappeared. And at that time, Shata Devi falls at Krishna's feet and begs that, please don't kill my son, please don't do that. And then at that time, Krishna gives this benediction that if it's fate that he has to be killed by my hands, I can't promise you that I won't kill him, but I'll promise you that I'll forgive his 100. If he has to commit 100 offenses from 1 to 100 straight on, and 99, no, 100 or 99, 99, and he'll be killed. and then I'll kill him. So every time Shishupal and Shatadevi said, yeah, she was confident that itne paap to nahi karega. He won't do so many offenses. I'll raise him as a devotee of yours. But Shishupal grew up hating Krishna for this. That this is the person who will kill me. This is the person who will kill me. This is false ego, ahankar. So Shishupal now grew up hating Krishna. And what he used to do is, he used to criticize Krishna 1, 9, 10, 30, 40, 60, 70, 80, 89, 90, 98, and he used to stop. He never used to cross 99. But when during the Rajasuya Yagya of the Pandavas, where Krishna was given the Pratham, it was the Pratham Puja, right? Agra Puja. When he was given the Agra Puja, he was given that honor. At that time, the envy of Shishu, he couldn't control his envy. And he did not realize. And Krishna was telling him, it's 98, you can stop. But he kept going on, and then 99, Krishna chopped and he delivered. So this is the pastime of Shishupal. But coming back to the play, Lalit Madhav. So, where were we? So he enters the kingdom of Vidarbha as a dancer. But at that time, Rukmini, who has written a letter to Krishna, and she and the Brahmana Sunanda, she gave the letter to Sunanda, and Brahmana is nowhere to be seen. Krishna is nowhere to be seen. So she has a friend, as a servant, Madhuri, who's taking care of her. So she tells Madhvi that, I heard that my brother is doing a very big sacrifice for Kali, and he's having 100 fire yajnas. So, and I've heard that a very big kund of ghee is there. So I want to have a look at it. I want to go and look around. But she was thinking that, I'll burn myself, I'll drown myself, I'll kill myself, but I'll not marry Shishupal. I want to marry Krishna, and I have to marry someone who hates Krishna. I better give my life. And she mentions this in the letter that, oh Lord, I'm not qualified to be accepted by you, but it's okay. I'll try again. I'll try again. Till the time I actually become qualified to be worthy to become your maid servant. This is mentioned in Rukmini's letter to Krishna, and that's the humility aspect of it again. So Rukmini is now, she goes to the temple of Devi and she's praying to Devi, but she's not getting any hints of Krishna. But when she is about to enter the pyre, the sacrificial pyre, Krishna, who's disguised as a dancer, holds her hand. And actually, he stops Rukmini first. And he says, no, don't jump in the fire. And she says, oh, this person, he just wants something. I'm anyway committing suicide, let me give him a ring. So she takes a ring and she puts it on the hand of that person, who was actually Krishna. And when she touches the hands of Krishna, she realizes, oh, it's actually Krishna. He has such strong arms and such strong hands. These are not hands of a woman or of a dancer. This is the hand of the Supreme Personality of God. So when she touches the hands of Krishna, and then Krishna reveals himself that I'm actually your Krishna, and don't enter the fire because I have to kidnap you and take you back to Dwarka now. At that time, Bhishmaka, Purnamasi, all of them come, and they, in the play, all the characters, they come, and then Bhishmaka says that my relatives have advised me to take a promise from you that you are not to marry anyone else except Rukmini without her permission. So if you have to marry or have more queens in the future, you have to have Rukmini's permission before you have them as wives. Krishna looks at Purnamasi. Purnamasi says, anyway, all the gopis have been liberated. There are no other women. In future, if something happens, we'll see. But what's the harm? Sign it. So Krishna signs. Krishna accepts. And now there are sounds of get the horses, because Rukmini, Shishupal, Jarasandh, all of them, they get to know that Krishna has somehow entered the kingdom of Vidarbha, is now kidnapping, the lion has come and taking its share. So Krishna took Rukmini and he went off towards Dwarka, and from that side, the entire Yadu dynasty, Yadu army, headed by Balram, is there because someone has to deal with them. So Krishna is having his romantic pastimes with Rukmini, and they go get married, and Balram fights with all these hyenas, these evil kings, and that's how Krishna and Rukmini unite, according to Lalit Madhav. So this is the pastime of Devi Rukmini. Are there any questions or any understandings anything which we did not understand? I'll try to explain. Yes, bro. So you know how there's so many pastimes of Radharani and Krishna, but they're not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam because it's supposed to be a very concise version of it. And there's so many characters of Vrindavan, Braj Leela, Krishna's friends, Sudam, Vasudham, Kinkingi, Stoka Krishna, Madhamangal, Subal, all of them, they aren't mentioned either. None of the gopis are mentioned either. So it's supposed to be a very concise format, whereas these books by Acharya. So if you see Gopal Champu, which is a Krishna book version of Jiva Goswami, it's his Krishna book, just like how Srila Prabhupada wrote Krishna book. Jiva Goswami's version of Krishna book. Krishna Leela Stava is Sanatan Goswami's version of the 10th canto. So in these books, we see pastimes in a greater detail, whereas Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna book, Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada has further elaborated Srimad Bhagavatam's 10th canto in Krishna book. But this is supposed to be in a concise manner, whereas these Goswami literatures, we get a glimpse of the details and the specific aspects of it. For example, there is no mention of Garuda accompanying Krishna, but there are a lot of conversations between Garuda and Krishna. Garuda, who is Suparna, who disguises himself as Suparna, and he tells Krishna, this daughter of Bhishmaka is only to be enjoyed by you, is only to be your wife. She does not deserve to be married to that wretched Shishupal, that dumb, ill-clad, and all these conversations are there. But then we don't see these conversations in mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam or in other books which talk about the entire pastime. He entered as a male dancer, but what happened? Suparna is also a male dancer, but what's mentioned is that anyone who enters the inner palace of Rukmini transforms into a female. So this was the tight protection which was there. So Krishna does not enter the inner court inner palace of Rukmini. He sees Rukmini in the Chandi in the Durga temple. Devi, it's also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam that how Rukmini is praying to Durga or Devi, Parvati. Yes, and the name of the deity whom she worshipped was Chandrabhaga. So the Chandrabhaga form of Devi Parvati was worshipped by Rukmini, and that's how. So there's also a mention because there was a bit of time crunch. So Madhavi, who's not really a servant, but she acts like a friend, and she begs Chandrabhaga. She says that, oh Chandrabhaga, why don't you give her the bhaga? Bhaga also means husband. So you give her the moon-like husband she wants. And there's only one person who has a moon-like face, who's moon-like, who's born in Chandravamsha, Krishna. So in that aspect, Madhavi prays to Chandrabhaga that please give her the groom she wants. And at that time, then Chandrabhaga starts smiling, and then Madhavi says, "Oh look, the deity is smiling." So there's a white smile. So you don't be worried. She's trying to pacify Rukmini because Rukmini is very distressed. Till the 11th hour, she doesn't know if Krishna will come or if she'll have to marry Shishupal. So all of these mentions, this is mentioned in this play. It's a very humorous play, but I heard the audiobook version of it. I haven't physically read it or invested enough time into it. Any other question? Does that answer your question, bro? Any other questions? Yes, bro. 100? Jai. No, bro. You are right. Any other questions or comments? Feedback? Okay, it's 8:50, almost time. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय, सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री रुक्मिणी द्वादशी महामहोत्सव की जय, रुक्मिणी द्वादशीधीश की जय. प्रभु आदि भक्त वृंद की जय.